We begin in Gaza, where the Israeli military has been carrying out more airstrikes in northern and central Gaza. Fighting on the ground is also concentrated in southern Gaza. Artillery shelling and explosions have been heard around the Nasser Medical Complex in Khan Younis in the south. Israeli forces have besieged the hospital for days. There's no electricity and staff and patients remain trapped. Gaza's health ministry says 26,750 people have been killed during Israel's war on Gaza so far. And wet weather is worsening the humanitarian crisis there. Rain over the past few days has flooded makeshift camps. Tens of thousands of displaced Palestinians already lack basic shelter to protect them from the winter cold. Many face starvation with no food or water.
There are no blankets or clothes. The rain has drowned us, and we are unable to hang our clothes out to dry. There are no beds, no warmth, and not even food for the children to eat. There is no milk for this child. This is a war of extermination which has destroyed us. In the history of Palestine, such a war has never happened.
Let's get an update on the situation in Gaza and speak to Al Jazeera's Hani Mahmoud, who's in Rafah for us in southern Gaza. Hani, bring us up to speed with what's been happening overnight and this morning.
Yes, well, unfortunately, there's only more death, destruction and displacement across Gaza Strip as Israeli relentless airstrikes and artillery shelling continue to pound across the Strip from north to south, mainly concentrated in overnight and within the past 2 days in the northern part of the Gaza Strip and Gaza City, particularly in the central part of Gaza City in a Rimal neighborhood where more evacuation centers were raided by the Israeli military. Large number of people were arrested. But in Jabalia, where more residential homes were targeted and destroyed, and around the vicinity of Al-Auda hospital, a hospital that has been stormed last month by the Israeli military, and was the vast majority of its properties and facilities were destroyed. In the central area, we're looking at more residential buildings were targeted, and large areas of public facilities in Al-Burayj refugee camp, as well as the Nusayrat refugee camp in Block 2, with more residential homes and residential blocks being destroyed. More people are forced into internal displacement in the central areas. In Khan Younis, where most of the fighting is taking place in the southern part of the city in Al-Najjar area, Gizan and Najjar area. That's at the southern part of the city at the edges of Rafah city, and further to the western part of Khan Younis and around the vicinity of Al-Amal hospital that was stormed last night by the Israeli tanks that destroyed the vicinity of the compound. The compound includes the headquarters for the Palestine Red Crescent Society and another building for the emergency and ambulance department, and at the hospital itself, where hundreds of displaced Palestinians have been sheltering inside the hospital. 10 people reported injured. There are more into the updates coming within the coming hours, as there's still a partial blackout across the Gaza Strip.
Yeah, and healthcare facilities, as you described there, Hani, on the verge of collapse. But I understand there's a little bit of good news for Nasser Hospital, which has received a fuel shipment.
Yes, well, Nasser Hospital, the largest public health facility in the city of Khan Younis, was gradually being pushed out of service, as there not only extreme shortage of medical supplies and exhausted medical staff as it ran out of space as well, but also the fuel that has ran out from the hospital within the past a few days, to the point that it was forced to shut down major departments, including ICU, as well as a couple of the surgery rooms or the operations room in the hospital. Just put the life of many people at risk. But as of yesterday, the UNRWA, despite the efforts by the Israeli military to erode its work across the Gaza Strip, it managed to deliver a couple trucks of fuel to the hospital in an attempt just to sustain its work and operations and in combating the grave conditions at the hospital. We're looking at a health facility that is not only running out of space as well as the medical supplies, but also in terms of intervention, a proper medical intervention, to continue offering the necessary medical treatment to injuries as well as to those with life-threatening conditions, and also services for those who have been sheltering inside the hospital. This will sustain the hospital for at least a week, but there has to be, according to a hospital official, there has to be a solution for this problem, as the hospital doesn't have to go back to this problem once again.
Yeah. Hani, thank you so much for the update. Hani Mahmoud, live for us in Rafah in southern Gaza.